we're just about ready, folks. You listening on radio, we're getting ready on the TV side. So you could join us on Facebook as well under KUHS, the stream. And I believe we are on. Good morning, everybody. It's Paul Chavez, Mr. International, KUHS, the stream. And with me, I have Alvina Vasquez, a strategist here in the Denver area, and I am just so happy to have you. Welcome.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So over the week, a lot of stuff going on in the world of the Demócratas. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So I don't get paid by any campaign right now. I'm kind of just out here trying to educate community on what's been happening. I think, if you're tracking the news and you heard that President Biden and the Republican nominee Donald Trump had a really terrible debate. I think that was hard for everybody to watch.
Oh man, it was sad.
It was really sad.
Yeah.
But what came out of it was a lot of pressure asking President Biden to take a step back and let a new young leader lead.
Which makes sense.
It makes sense. And for me, I don't know how others felt, but for me, when he did that, I felt emotional. I did. Because why? My dad's aging, and it's just so, to see somebody who loves country so much and to put their ego aside and say, yeah, it's time.
It's time, yeah. And you know what? I have a father-in-law who's 81, and I think it's Biden's age, and I could see the brain function is just they want to try so hard. they want to remember, and it bugs them because they can't. And then it'll come to them like the next day, and then he'll come up to me and say, "Hey, I remember that." You know what I mean? And it is sad, and it's going to happen to all of us. So, you know what? I was telling Alvina, I'm getting up in age. She said I look good, by the way. So thank you, Alvina. Anyway, but yeah. Age is definitely a factor in anything you're doing, right?
Absolutely. We shouldn't discredit the amount of service he's put. He's been, he was the youngest congressperson. Now he's stepping down as the oldest presidential candidate. And in that decision, he endorsed Kamala Harris. There were some discussions on who he would endorse, who would throw his support behind. Honestly, it had to be her.
Right.
He picked her as a vice president. Nobody has the experience that she has because nobody else was the vice president.
Right.
She's the one. That makes sense. When you're a boss and you have a deputy, you put that deputy, you trust that deputy to take charge when you're out. So, I think the Republican Party is afraid, and they did not expect to be running against Kamala Harris. But we've also seen this amount of energy behind her. Right. And you question whether was Hillary, were they ahead of their time? Because the Obama brought a new energy to politics for young people at the time that was unforeseen.
Right.
Then Hillary ran and lost. It seemed like the country wasn't ready for a woman. But now we have the culmination of an experienced woman, a woman who's bicultural and who has an amazing platform to run on because she's been in the office running, supporting the president running this country the past 4 years. So we have a great record to talk about in that.
I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
How does Kamala Harris' background as a prosecutor and attorney general influence her policy and positions?
I think that's a viable question. Folks don't necessarily trust the justice system. Those who have been within justice system, whether you're working it or you are within the justice system, would question that. Where is she lying? If you look at her record, she was very specifically in the sex crimes unit, which, as we know, it's a horrible problem going on right now.
Absolutely. Human trafficking.
Human trafficking, kids. So she was in that. So imagine the type of people that she had to, give them justice. Then there was so then she worked, then you think about, okay, well, where are we on drug policy? Because that is evolving policy in our country.
Right.
In Colorado, we're ahead of the game.
Absolutely.
We've decriminalized it. It's not a part of our economic system yet. It's still a cash-only industry.
Right.
But in the past couple years, her and President Biden have worked on decriminalizing marijuana federally.
Right.
Trying to get those economic dollars into the economic system.
But wait a minute, isn't there like they're being taxed though?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always there's tax on cigarettes.
Yeah, but I know that, but the federal government's not getting taxes, just the state, is that
just
it?
the state.
Oh,
each state
okay.
policy will create.
I'm not a smoker, so
yeah.
I tried it once and I went and hid under my bed, so it didn't work.
That's what protects that golden voice of yours.
Right. Right.
But each state will decide their own policy. But what was happening is we have this patchwork policy, which puts people who use cannabis in a weird situation if they're working here, but they work, or they live here, but they work somewhere else, and it's just like weird. Like we need like a federal norm policy there.
Now let me ask you. It was known that Kamala smoked at the time that she was putting a lot of minorities in prison over marijuana, and I mean we all have skeletons in the closet. But her being minority, and I know she was just doing her job, but it was known that she was smoking, putting people in prison that smoke marijuana. Now, those people, are they getting pardoned now that it's getting legalizing all over the country?
In some states, in Colorado for sure, and the federal policy that she's trying to push through would go through that path. I think the goal is to decriminalize it and to pardon those who have been convicted. And if you look at her record, she did try to find pathways for recovery or other alternatives to just, getting locked up. So the other thing that you have to think about as a prosecutor, attorney general, these are people that understand a system, Paul, that is not meant for us.
Right.
This is a system that's meant to jail us,
right,
not to support us.
Right.
She understands the intricacies of that.
Right.
And she has the empathy to make it work for us instead of work against us.
My question is, just recently, as early as day before yesterday, the Obamas finally, signed an endorsement saying, yeah, let's go with Kamala. What took him so long?
I think that's political gaming. I think they're trying to figure out when was the right time. I also think, Obama and Biden have a very tight relationship. And there was a lot of hurtful things said about Biden. I feel it was almost, what do they call that when they discriminate you for being a senior? It was almost like that.
It's, I know the word.
Yeah.
I know the word is called, I'll blow it.
Ageism. It was like an
ageism. Yeah. I was going to say I'll remember it tomorrow.
So I think he wanted to let it breathe, that we respect President Biden, that we celebrate
that
him.
Makes sense.
Give him some time.
That makes sense.
I don't think it was easy for the president or his family to make this decision or be pushed into this position. And I think if the Obamas had come out at a time, either it wouldn't have gotten the attention that it deserved, it would have been questioned. So I think that they planned it at a time where, and it was only a week. I mean, it's only been a week.
Yeah, only been
Not
a week.
even a week, it was Sunday.
Yeah, so, Sunday, so mañana will be a week.
Tomorrow will be a week. So, I think the timing was perfect. What was interesting, though, is from a marketing standpoint, how quickly they pivoted.
Oh, yeah.
Because when they made the announcement, I saw it on Instagram, she's walking, talking, on the phone.
Yes.
The Obama's caller.
Yes.
How different is that from older generations of politicians who are sitting at their desks, waiting, sending a press release,
waiting for a fax.
But they're elevating her youth. She's moving. She's doing things. She's busy. Look at her go.
Yes.
She's got to take calls from the Obamas on her cell phone.
Right.
She doesn't have time.
Yes. And I think for the younger gen, I think that's exciting. I mean, I've seen TikTok videos of her dancing with the crowd and all of this stuff. But, I represent that ageism group. I represent a group that, we're on budgets. We're on, when you're on Social Security and all this stuff, and you see the price of groceries, you see the price of gas going up. Do you feel that this new regime, whether it's Republican or Democrats, are they going to drop any of that stuff? Is it going to come down? Come on, man.
I mean, the one of the tenets of the Republican Party is to get rid of programs that support seniors, people that are disabled.
Not good.
And any kind of those. And people think, oh, it's just free help. The government shouldn't be doing that. But it's tools and resources so people can get what they need to get back up on their feet.
Right.
Because honestly, it's so hard these days, and I don't think social media makes it easier. I think we get sucked into these really doldrum conversations, and sometimes it's really hard to find joy when we see all these negative things coming at us.
Right.
But knowing that there's a support system in place to help us, not a perfect system, we know there's lots of people that are left out of it that can still benefit from it.
Right.
But on the Republican side, they don't like welfare programs. They call them welfare. They've demonized that language.
Yes,
but think
commodities
about the word.
and
welfare.
Welfare, food stamps.
Welfare means doing well.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So they've demonized that. They've made people feel shame about that. And we should not feel shame when we need help.
No, there's other countries that are taking care of their people much better than they're taking care of us here in the United States.
Now, when we talk about...
But we earned it, though. We earned it. Okay?
That's right. They want to get rid of Social Security. But let's talk about
Shut the front door. I got to go back to work.
But one thing that they don't like to talk about is corporate welfare. So what they do, and a lot of, some of us remember this in 2008, when the economy went down, how many corporations were asking for tax breaks and cash in their pocket, and they got it.
They got it.
But you know what? When human people need it, they think it's bad. But corporations can ask for help whenever it's there. So we want to, the Democrats want to make sure that people have the tools that they need. They don't need to have shame in asking for those resources. It's there to support us, get us back on our feet, and get us moving.
I was I'm localizing it. I was a member of or an employee of the Food Bank of the Rockies, and actually my good friend Chris Gray's out there doing this thing with the St. Francis of Assisi at Red Rocks right as we speak. And there's people out there lined up right now trying to get help. Not because they want to steal it or because they need it, because there's just these prices of gas and every day you wake up, first thing you look at is what's the price of the gas today? What's the price of a gallon of milk? And it ain't getting any cheaper. And we want answers. We want to know, are there going to be changes with either party? Because, honestly, how many people do you think are really undecided right now?
I think there's a lot. In Colorado, Democrats and Republicans pretty much cancel each other out. We're about 50-50.
Wow.
There's, excuse me, I get some water.
Go ahead. But, and then we're talking about economics, but let's talk about healthcare.
Well, when it comes to the economy, that is what mobilizes people. They want to know that they're getting money in their pockets, and people aren't taking it out of their pockets.
Right.
Our healthcare system, it still needs support. It still needs help. They're demonizing people of color, black people, immigrants, and saying they're taking our jobs. Who's our jobs? It's not us, right?
No. It's jobs we don't want to do.
They want to use those economic realities to pretend like some people have it better off than the other. But right now, 99% of people are paycheck to paycheck. You can be making $100,000 a year and still not be making enough money. But think about, Biden has been one of the most progressive presidents because he continues to seek ways to get education loans forgiven. And guess who keeps blocking him? The Republicans. They continue to block his efforts there. If you look at the Project 2025 project that the Republicans are trying to push out, they want us to have to pay for our weather reports. But why is this an economic?
And here's the other one in media. They want to get rid of AM radio. And what the heck?
So, but for some people that might not be an economic issue, but think about how many people's jobs depend on the weather. From construction workers need to know if they're going to go to work. People that are cleaning snow need to know if they need to go to work. Like, those are economic issues, and if
our farmers,
you have to pay for the weather to find out if you have to go to work. Come on, that's crazy.
No, that's crazy. Here's one that keeps coming up, and I'm getting a lot of texts from everybody. One from the 505 here. The border. The border's huge. And I'm going to tell you, Alvina, I'm probably not even supposed to say this, but I'm going to anyway. I worked for the Homeland Security there for a while when we were getting in the immigrants coming in because I'm bilingual. And I saw the influx of people that came into Denver. We were one of the mother cities that got probably the most, if not the second most, next to New York. And I saw the bad guys.
Yeah.
There was a percentage. And the reason I knew there were bad guys is because there was a thing called end of stay. End of stay meaning that for young men it was 20 days, for women with children it was 30 days you could stay at a hotel. And I could see their sense of urgency. They weren't in a hurry to get a job. They weren't in a hurry to, and then they come in sandals with with snow on the ground. You know, they come from Venezuela and other countries around the world. But here's my thing is that, and it's hard to decipher who's the bad guy and who's the good guy. But, and I'm just telling you a personal story.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
The end of stay was 20 days. So we would tell them a week before, 5 days, 3 days, 2 days, the day of. At 7 o'clock, we knock on their door. You know, you got to leave today by 10 o'clock. Okay, no problem. They go back to sleep. Why? Because they were supported by some kind of a cartel or something, because they knew that they were going to go on and do some things, other things other than being legit. You know, look at this, and we could talk about this story locally, where Joyeria Ruby, who we sell advertising to back in the day, owned by young women and mothers, and they got hit hard by a group of thugs from Venezuela that went and wiped out their entire business. You know, figure that out. So my point is, what I'm trying to get to, is that there were some thugs and some bad people that have made their way through the border. How are we going to protect our country, letting those people in, legitimizing, you know, getting them legal to do harm to our citizens that are already here?
Well, first of all, the broken immigration system has been broken for generations, and the Republicans continue to block any sort of discussions about solving border crisis. The reason they don't want Democrats to solve the problem of border crisis is because they want to run on it all the time, because race baiting and anti-immigrant rhetoric, they think that works for their base. It probably does work for their base. But I have, and you know, I think we ask these questions all the time. What about people that do, you know, fraud Medicaid and all these things? We cannot let perfect be the enemy of good. There are so many good people that need help, and that's what this country was built on. And you know, it's the least we can do, given this land was stolen anyways.
Yes.
So it's kind of ironic now that we're closing borders when we stole the land anyway. But let's be real. There's going to be imperfect systems.
Right.
We have a justice system to deal with that.
Right.
See something, say something. We have to work as a society. But I don't believe that dehumanizing immigrants or making them feel shame or anything, because our communities are mixed status.
Yes.
People we love are living and contributing to this economy and making these communities work, that have papers or not have papers or somewhere in the middle.
Right, right.
And until the Republicans come and work with Democrats and get something done, it's going to be broken.
Right, right. Back to Kamala Harris. Climate change has been huge, and we feel it. I mean, these temperatures, Colorado hasn't seen temperatures consistently of 98 to 102 degrees. That just wouldn't happen in the past. You know, we'd stay cool in the 70s and 80s, but we attribute to that to climate change. What does Kamala plan on doing?
What is interesting is that Biden, Harris, they worked together on the Inflation Reduction Act.
Okay.
The vice president at the time was the deciding factor. What this act did, it put billions, I think billions, I'll get the exact number for you, into the Colorado economy to build out tax incentives for low energy appliances, to put a cap on oil and gas. But you know, let's recognize a lot of people work for oil and gas. That's people's economy. So we have to do it in a responsible way, and we have to build jobs and new energy.
Right.
So they did it in a way that was balanced and fair. But here's another kick of this. This is why it matters to have people of color lead. There was certain tax benefits or certain programs that had to be led by community advocates and people of color that had been working in climate justice for a long time. So there's huge opportunity when we have somebody that knows how hard the system is to navigate for our people. And she's done a great job at it, and the Inflation Reduction Act is going to have an impact, you know, for generations.
Absolutely. You know, And climate change to me was not a big deal, but then I started thinking about my grandkids and their kids, and what are they going to be facing as life goes on without me as I'm pushing daisies, you know? It is truly important because we have an opportunity as a country, as a people, to make a difference.
But think about like how vulnerable are our children and our seniors to heat. I mean, we're already seeing people passing away from heat exhaustion in their own homes.
Yes.
So it's a reality. It's not fake. The other side likes to say they're fake.
Right.
We know it's not fake. It's real.
Right. So, in closing, and I could talk to you about this forever, you know, it says, I'm not the big political guy, but when it starts affecting my pocket, I become political.
And that's most people, yeah.
And I don't like what's going on. And this race or races between both parties, it's going to be interesting. Now the debates, let's talk about debates. I hear one says, we'll debate her, but then he get pulled out, and then she says, come on, bring it, you know?
You know what was funny as I was thinking about that this morning is she's like the opposite of the Karen. Right? She's educated, intelligent, and she has the backing to really challenge him. I think he's afraid of that. I don't think anybody around him really challenges him or anything. So I think that's going to be interesting. But in order for this election to be consequential and we get the leader that we need, luckily in Colorado, we have the best election system here. You know, you get your ballot mailed to you. You just mail it back, super easy. You can drop it off at any election box. You have, I think mail ballots will arrive around the October 15th. Make sure your addresses are updated on the Secretary of State's website. This goes for any party.
Right.
You know, everybody should vote. Republican, Democrat, everybody should have their voice heard.
Right.
And it's super easy to vote. Get online. You can register on election day. If you're like, I forgot, you can register on election day. Your vote counts. Colorado has the best election system, the safest election system. So please, please, please remember, go online, Secretary of State's office, register to vote.
That's Paul Lopez, right? Paul Lopez. Right? Yeah, our good friend, Paul Lopez. Let's talk about the final days. What do you see happening? I mean, obviously they're going to have to debate. What do you see happening? You know, with Kamala Harris being a prosecutor and Trump, you know, let's face it, he's had a lot of, call it accusations, or has been, you know, is he's going to be acquitted, whatever, we don't know, but 34 counts are a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. You know, if I did, I wouldn't have a job, and they need to take that off. You know, have you ever been prosecuted?
Yeah, exactly.
Or committed any crimes? You got to take that off the job application now, because if the biggest man, supposedly, makes it to the White House, you know, we ought to have a second chance too.
Like,
right?
You can't work at a hardware store, but you can be president.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like we have to keep this energy. It's been, like I said, it's only been a week. We got to keep this energy moving and going. Right. We can't stop talking about the issues, highlighting the differentiation. The thing is that it's going to come down to election day. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be really, really close.
Right now, they're neck to neck.
Neck to neck.
So, right.
So she has said the right thing. I need to earn my vote. She can't take anything for granted. She has to work really hard for every vote. She has to talk about things, and she has to talk about the things people care about. Sometimes politicians forget that point. Talk about the things that people care about. But you know what she's going to win over the other party? Is empathy. She has empathy,
right,
which Donald Trump has no empathy.
No empathy. Now, what about a running mate for her? There were talks about Polis possibly being her running mate. How real is that?
Yeah, I worked for the governor in 2018. He's a great guy. I really like him.
Yes.
I don't think he'll be the vice president pick because I think they're going to want to go with a state that's probably a predominantly red state, and also a state that could be a swing state, and Colorado is not a swing state.
Okay, sounds good. Now, and we were talking about the monies that were switched over from Biden over to Kamala. Now they're talking about going to court over that. What do you think?
This is what people who feel like they don't have a chance will do this, right? They'll call cheat on everything.
Right.
Shenanigans. They call shenanigans on everything. This is just Republican tactics to try to say that, you know, Democrats are being tricky, whatever. This is the process. This is what's in. Trump has never had a care about rules. He does whatever he wants anyway. So the fact that they're trying to drum something up, I think it's just like tactics to really get people not to notice his record.
We're still a few months away. I'd like to have you back here as soon as we get closer. I'm sure this is so fluid. It's just happening.
It's just ongoing. Yeah.
I mean, it's like a soap. But as the world turns, but this one is as the stomach turns, and it's become very interesting. I think it's caught the eye and the ear of our younger generation, even for those that are not voting. I know my grandkids are excited because it's a woman and she's fun. She looks, she's hip, she's cool. And
she's happy.
She's
right?
happy,
she's
yeah.
Like joyful.
Yeah,
like,
come on.
They're making fun of her for giggling. Like, come on.
No, man, come on. And that, one more question, and I didn't talk about foreign policy and the war in Gaza. How influential can she be to stop that war?
I think she has an opportunity here to be different than what Biden had been. See, there has been this generations of relationships with Israel. Obviously, nobody wants the war. I don't think anybody wants what's happening.
No.
But there's these political realities with the leader of Israel that have gotten in the way of anything happening. She has the opportunity to break and do what she thinks is best because of her immigrant background,
right.
Because of her empathy, because of her understanding of foreign policy. I think she can make the right choice.
Right. So I have to bring her name up. I have a sister named Rachel, and she lives in Washington. She's a big Trump fan. She goes to sleep listening to his speeches.
Oh my gosh.
I know. She was talking about, she talks about the whole gamut, basically, and the differences between, the Democrats and the Republicans, and how the economy is going to get better if Trump wins, and we're going to have law and order, and I'm thinking, that sounds like we're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that Donald Trump has his friends. He's obviously set up the Supreme Court to go that direction. He's setting up the system to work for him and for his friends and for his family, and he really doesn't care about the rest of it.
And what I understand, he's got a lot of favors he's got to pay back. He's lost a lot of money over the years. And does Kamala Harris have anybody that she needs to do favors for? Because that seems like that's what happens once you get, up in office. You got favors.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If a majority of young people, women of color, all women, and men who care for their women, because they're going to take away our health care choices, she has to answer to us.
Right.
Because we elect her.
Right.
She has to do us our favors.
Right.
That's why we got to vote.
I like that. Alvina, it's always a pleasure, you enlightening us. You've watered it down so we can understand, because a lot of the raza and people that listen to my show, I'm not saying they're uneducated, but we like to hear it on just the grassroots level, and you do that.
And there's no shame in not tracking politics, because guess what? We got to pay our bills. We don't got to have time for this.
Right, exactly.
So when you have time, I'm glad I'm here to help.
Can you come back?
Absolutely.
There you go, Henry. We got to schedule her back maybe in a couple of months, because things are going to get exciting and heated, right?
Exciting and fun.
All right, there you have it. Alvina Vasquez, strategist here in the Mile High City, and she's not influencing either party, but she's excited we have a woman possibly running the country, and I am too.
We have to talk about, next time I come, we're going to talk about the ballot measures, because there's some tax measures and there's the choice measures.
There you go. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And sorry to wake you up so early on your Saturday.
Yeah, I usually get up at noon.
On a personal level, you've now got a big baby boy.
I know, he's so much fun.
That is so exciting. I saw you pictures with John Lennon. Oh wow.
John Legend.
Legend. I'm sorry, John Lennon. I'm sorry. He's demise. He's another planet. He's pushing daisies. Pobrecito. Anyway, Alvina Vasquez, R.I.P. Although they did play his song yesterday in the opening of the
how
Olympics.
is Celine though? How is Celine?
I didn't see it.
Oh, I just saw her documentary. It was so good.
I missed it, and there's a lot of controversy over the closing of the Olympic opening because of the mocking of the Last Supper. So that's that's another thing. But we're here to play music. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank
Say hi to
you.
your man. Tell him thank you for letting you roll out of bed and coming here to the studios of KUHS. You like our new digs?
I love the new digs. Look at the view.
Yeah, nice. So there you go. You want to say anything else to people that it's a must, they got to hear?
You know, just vote. Just vote, vote, vote. Stay in touch with your community. They're here to support you. There's resources at the state for if you do need help paying the bills. Make sure you're looking into your local resources. Sometimes Latinos think there's nothing for me, but there's a lot of resources that you can get to if you need your help. If you need mental health, 988 is a national line for suicide or crisis. But think about the times when you're not suicidal or just having a hard day. Always call and ask for help. And yeah, keep reaching out to community.
There you go. Elvina Vasquez, a wealth of information. We're going to have her back as things get heated here in the studio, and you're always welcome anytime you want to just fly in. Any Saturday, we're here. And thanks for that promo, Deep Cuts. She listens all the time, so that's awesome. We're going to sign off from Facebook and 85 different platforms around the world. Thank you all. You got something to say, during your coffee. And nobody, we're not going to tell you where the studio is because we don't want you waiting for us outside. Alvina, thanks again. We're signing off from Facebook. Follow me back to KUHSdenver.com. We are live right here on the stream.